Well, my day job is the forester here for this unit. So if you folks have questions regarding trees or forestry related issues, don't hesitate to call me. My office is in Mariposa, and the main number will get you to there. In addition to being a registered professional forester, I'm also a pest control advisor, licensed by the state of California, which qualifies me as an expert. And what we're going to talk about today is you've done all your work, you've cleared around your house, you've got zone 2 clear, and you've spent a lot of work doing it, and now we want to maintain it like that. The most efficient and easiest way, and cost effective, is the use of herbicides. And so here's the clicker. That's what we're here to talk about, is safe and effective use of herbicides. Which button do it? Okay. Typically, what happens after you treat an area, is that what typically happens is the sprouting brush. You cut the tree down to as close to mineral soil as you can, and what happens with certain species is it sprouts right back up. Some species that sprout are oak, live oak, ceanothus, toyon, and chamise. There's a couple ways to get rid of that. If it's too big and big, you can try this guy, which is called a weed wrench. It costs about a couple $100, I think, and it will pull stuff out by its root, literally. It does work. Or I like to go the easier route and use something like this. This is 20 bucks at Ace Hardware, 30 bucks. It's light, it's a gallon, and if you have 2 to 5 acres of property, this will work as a tool. What's available? Let's see if I can do this right this time.
How do I go towards the right? The arrow that's where you're going. There you go. That one. Should be that one. There you go.
Okay, so we talked about the puller. Small brush can be usually pulled by hand. I don't really not into weeding by hand. Or herbicide. Typically, so you've decided to go with the herbicide route. What's the first thing you need to have is you need to wear proper protection. And typically, what proper protection is a long sleeve shirt, eye protection, neoprene gloves, leather boots, long pants. Most people have that stuff, or that can be cheaply purchased. So we talked about resprouting brush. And this is ceanothus. This is live oak. It's a problem. This is well 2 years. It's actually probably more like a year. And as sprouting, it's easier to get it at that size than when it gets much bigger than that. You're going to spend a lot less money and a lot less time spraying it with herbicide when it's at that stage versus a few years from now, or 2 or 3 years. Go ahead.
Is this a good time to be spraying?
That's an excellent question. The type of herbicides that for brush species that are used, and we'll get into that, what's the preferred type. The best time per the label, and my forestry handbook is in the late summer to early fall. So July through about now. It's something you can do in the summertime. It's not, obviously, you don't need any special permits for it. I mean, or, you know, it's not going to be a safety problem. And that's probably the best time. It is the preferred time. Eye protection. So this gentleman is fully set up to go and do the spraying. He has, and there's different. You can have something like this. You have a backpack sprayer. You can have a spray rig, which there's another photo of that. But you know, for my money, for your average homeowner in this county, that's probably your biggest bang for your buck. It's light, a gallon of mixed, and you're good to go. Application equipment. Typically, there's 3 methods to control unwanted vegetation using herbicide. The first is called hack and squirt. That is where you basically take an axe or a knife and cut around the bark to get to the cambium layer of the tree and apply herbicide to that. And then the tree takes in the herbicide and the tree dies in a few months. Starts the brown. It's good for controlling spouting species because the tree's dead. Once it's dead, you cut it down and it doesn't grow back. The disadvantage to that is that oftentimes tree species will root graft together. So there could be some transportation from herbicide to the tree that you want killed to another tree that you want to live. So that's a disadvantage. If you want to get rid of all your live oaks, and typically there's not a lot of root grafting in between interspecies. The next method is you cut down the tree and you apply the herbicide with like a paintbrush to the stump. Works pretty well. There could be also an issue of root grafting and transferring the tree species do you want. That works really good with eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is another sprouting species. Not too common in above elevations of 2,500 feet. I don't see a lot of it. Lower elevations, yes. I happen to think that eucalyptus is a pest species because it's so invasive. Some people like it. That's an opinion.
Excuse me.
Sure.
You know, I use that on a good size toyon that I have cut down on the trunk according to the directions. I didn't have very good luck with that.
What did you use?
This is what you're talking about. The first one here would be
Roundup?
No, the other one. The one that you have. I took an axe and I had a cut, make holes in it and everything else. And
the hack and squirt.
Yeah. What happened is that it came back healthier than ever. What
herbicide did you use? Did you know? Did you use Roundup?
No, I didn't use the Roundup.
Did you use Garlon?
I used the one that you have to be very specific. You cannot use it with anything else. I mean, if any trees are around, it will kill it. It was a. I thought it was, I can't remember. But I had to cut around and make holes, drill holes.
Trees down.
Okay,
you know, I'll have to, I still have the
well, you give me a call.
I'm going to give you a call.
Okay.
I will do this.
Yeah. My number, you can write this down, and this is for...
Yes.
It's in the packet.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let's move on. Application, we know over that.
Quick question on the herbicide.
Sure.
Does it really matter whether you use tricloclear or glyphosate? Is it species specific or is it?
Yes, that's an excellent question. I'm going to get to that, but let's answer it right now. Typically, glyphosate or Roundup, or the equivalent of that, is best for herbaceous type weeds and grasses. Garlon is typically better for woody species, such as manzanita, ceanothus, buckbrush, toyon, and other woody sprouting species. We did, in Lush Meadows, we built a fuel break, and some of the landowners started spraying their properties with Garlon, and they did foliar application of sprouting species, one landowner in particular, and everything worked well except the toyon. He's done it twice, and he sprayed it twice in 2 years, and the toyon came back this year. But everything else looked really good. But when we're talking about applying herbicide, it's very important, and it's a law that you follow the label. That includes the mixing ratio, what species to apply for. It's all in the label, and it's the law basically to read that label. It's the law, and it's the safe thing and the smart thing to do. Yeah.
What is no? Best time of year and what do you use?
Garlon.
Garlon?
Yep.
Time of year?
Probably in the spring, because in this time of year, it's not going to work because it's already done. But if you use it when it's got the green leaves, you get the foliar application.
Garlon.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, when you were talking about the different equipment to wear, gloves, eye protection, pants, shirt, the mask is very important, because the herbicides have chemicals in it that will make your kidneys stop working. A friend of mine did that, he breathed
It depends. Garlon and Roundup, which is the herbicides that, if you're not licensed applicator, is what you have to buy it in the hardware store. Garlon and Roundup is safe. You can drink Roundup. It's safe to all animal species. Yes, there's a lot of misconception about Roundup, and probably should have had a rep, Monsanto rep here to talk about it. And there's a lot of misinformation about what Roundup is and how it works. And I don't want to get into that, but Roundup is safe, and so is Garlon, to humans, to and animals, because what it does is it removes a I don't want to say amino acid. I'm having a word block here, but so the plant can't do photosynthesis.
Why does it need to be kept away from creeks?
So what?
I'm wondering why it needs to be kept away from creeks. I have a creek behind my house.
It's just safe in environmental practice to not, and plus it's not according to the label to spray it in your creeks. You need you need to be a professional applicator to spray it in creeks.
Well, wouldn't if you spray in your water, then it would be transferred to maybe plants you don't want it to get to?
Exactly.
Isn't it true that Garlon and triclopyr are the same thing?
Yeah. They're similar type chemicals. One's for brush, one's for herbaceous grass and weeds. They're very similar in nature and how they work on the plant, but they're different.
about cats, spraying, your cats are running around, they're hunters. They lick their feet or paws,
It's non-toxic to
or
animals.
eat a little animal, right?
Yes, yeah.
I've
It-
often wondered about that.
No, it's non-toxic to fish, non-toxic to ants.
Thank you.
Next question.
Is Roundup not good for poison oak?
It will work. Roundup will kill any plant. It's just how many applications do you want to use? It's what's the more efficient product. On the same project, a gentleman used Roundup after we came in there on his property, he used Roundup to control his poison oak. It took a lot more applications, and it just wasn't as effective as, say, Garland. Now we'll talk about
Shall I go back to the trailer?
back.
Shall I go back?
With the, we got one more bullet point I want to talk about. Okay, why is it not? I'm gonna have to get training in this next time I do
What,
this.
that one?
No, I talked about that, this one. Okay. Now, you can buy these at the hardware store. If you desire to buy a stronger grade of these products, it is available at an ag store. However, to get, like, say, Roundup Pro versus the hardware version, Roundup Quick Pro, sound like a Monsanto rep, but anyways, it works a little faster than the variety that you can buy in the hardware store, because it has an addition that actually shows that it's welting, and without using a dye on your, it's really easy to miss things that you want to spray. So to get a higher grade of herbicide, if you contact your ag commissioner, Mariposa ag commissioner, and follow the instructions and get a number, and then do monthly reporting of when you use it, you can get, say, for example, Roundup Quick Pro. You don't need a license. That's my next topic, is to legally apply, commercially apply herbicide in the state of California, you have to have a license. It's usually an applicator's license. Anybody can get the applicator's license. You got to take a test, and you got to at least 2 tests for our purposes. You'd want to get a forest and land use license or class with an commercial applicant, and then you'd be able to purchase herbicides at the ag supply and get a little stronger grade of herbicide.
Can you use, just instead of using the blue spray indicator, could you just use food coloring
Is it
as a marker?
Is it on the label? That's the question.
Is it on the label?
Yeah, it has to be on the label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You have to follow the label.
Gotcha.
When in doubt, follow the label.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, but what chemical is in the blue spray?
Because anytime you add something, could change the herbicide.
All right.
Might be as effective.
All right.
So which chemical is in that blue spray indicator?
I don't know. But it's a dye,
Oh, it's just a dye?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, has people seen, when PG&E treats the poles around the county? They'll spray dye, they treat it with a pre-emergent herbicide for the poles that can cause fires. And typically they'll put a dye in there. And it lasts for a couple hours or a day or so, and that goes away. One of the things about Roundup or glyphosate and triclopyryl salt, how am I doing on time? 1 minute? is that one of the reasons why it's an environmental friendly product is that the herbicide breaks down in sunlight and in organic matter. So it has it typically in clay soils, organic matter, or sunlight, the product will break down and go back to its natural roots. So, and this, I think we're done. Are any questions? Go.
That trichlorosulfate, is that a herbicide itself, or is that just an additive to go in Roundup?
Glyphosate is what the chemical is. Roundup is a brand name. So if you go to the hardware store and want to buy some Roundup, what you see, so look for glyphosate as a like the Ace Hardware brand. They sell glyphosate.
So it's a generic brand.
Yes, exactly. And the same way with Garwan is a brand name, but there is trichlorosulfate with ester oil is also you can buy as a generic name too. It's just a matter of patent rights.
I'd like to put a plug in for the pest control advisors, the licensed pest control advisors, which Guy is. And if you're treating a substantial amount of acres, say 5, 10 acres or more, you can have a pest control advisor write you a recommendation that will spell out exactly what materials to use, the mixture rates, and at what time of year to apply it. And with the rising costs of these chemicals, oftentimes whatever it costs to get that recommendation offsets the potential overspray or unnecessary materials that you might purchase if you're trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, and you can hire a commercial applicator. There are companies in Mariposa County that do this sort of thing. If you don't want to do it yourself, and they can, and especially, I mean, if you're typical, I'm kind of here to talk toward a typical landowner, 2 to 5 acres. That's pretty much all you need. Follow the label, use PPE, and you're going to be treating it probably once or twice in a year, and after that, it'd be less and less. So, for an investment for glass Garwan, it's about $20 a liter, I think, and that liter will last you a long time. You're going to be you're not going to need the product as your first maintenance round, first couple of years. You need it less and less and less, and it preserves your investment and your time to do versus going out there and cutting, plow, burning, chipping, all the stuff that's necessary to do. This is going to save you a lot of time in the long run. I mean, I live in the foothills in Oak Woodland. And it, takes me about a week to get my property, just in cutting the grass down, about a week in the spring.